The product everybody's talking about is now here, the Apple Vision Pro, said to revolutionize AR and VR, spatial computing, and blow all the competitors like the Meta Quest 3 out of the water. But people are already sharing negative experiences with it, like the hard-to-use keyboard, the weight of the headset being unbearable, the ability to only use it for 30 minutes at a time, just like other VR headsets. And if everything people are saying is true, and this is just another headset, is it worth spending your money on? No, I'm not getting it. So everyone said this product would make history, and it did, but not in the way you think. When it was announced, this was the first time that I and many others watching the keynote just couldn't buy into an Apple product.
Apple Vision Pro starts at $34.99. It will be available early next year on Apple.com and at Apple retail stores in the US.
They could convince us that they were doing something cool. No one's doubting that they can deliver on most of what was said in that keynote, but I think where it went wrong is that this is the first time Apple launched a product that interferes with your life instead of enhancing it. So let's rewind a minute. First, we had the iPod, a small, unobstructive device that you could use without being fully tuned out of the world. Then we had the iPhone, a way to accomplish almost any task in a more portable, less intrusive way than ever before. And then we had the iPad, again bringing simplicity to the browser experience versus, sitting in your corner on your desktop. Then we had the Apple Watch to glance at during the day. Even AirPods have transparency features built in, making the whole ecosystem something built for creators without getting in the way. The point is, Apple devices have always blended well into your life without complete disruption or isolation. And so here comes Vision Pro, a device that you're wearing on your face and you're using it in complete isolation, an experience that only caters to the hardcore VR enthusiasts or as a way to block out your actual life. So originally, I just wasn't sure how to feel about the Vision Pro. So in prep for stepping into that environment, I bought the Meta Quest 3. And I wanted to get a feel for what VR was really like at its max potential right now before Vision Pro, and to see if it was really something that I could use long term. Well, what I found with this experience was, number one, heavy, hot, and uncomfortable. These headsets are uncomfortable. You're tightly strapped to a screen on your face, which ends up leaving marks all around your face. And as it starts to fall down your face, it ends up putting pressure on your nose to the point where you have to keep readjusting. And it has to be in a really specific position for the screen to actually be clear. 2, isolating from the world. This product is unlike any other Apple product I own because it makes me sit alone and not interact with the world. I don't invite others to hang out in this world with me. It's just me and whatever I'm watching. 3, it's still not as clear as using a monitor. With the amazing resolution that we have on MacBooks or studio displays, even iPad or our phones, there's not a compelling enough reason to opt for a worse experience that's also more isolating. 4, I can only really use it for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. The screen starts to bother you after long-term use, causing eye strain really quickly. Also, you don't want to use these devices for long because they start to get really hot. All in all, not a sustainable product for long-term use and not enough of a pull with features to keep you coming back. Number 5, a phone is a much more practical use case for consuming content in the least intrusive way possible. When you can get all the info you need without strapping this device to your face, then is the only reason to use it to view content in a more 3D way? The cool factor is exciting, don't get me wrong. But in my experience, it only lasts for a short time before you opt for the more convenient options like your phone. Number 6, continuity already solved a lot of the issues. If you want screens all around you, continuity brings your mouse from device to device, and dragging content between them is essentially the experience that you're trying to get from that Vision Pro. And it's already here in a more practical way. Number 7 is the price. But while writing this, I thought, is it priced high intentionally? See, I think that Apple already knows that this is not the device for the everyday consumer. They priced it high to only get the tech and VR enthusiasts to buy while development for apps is still happening, likely having a plan that in the next 3 or maybe 5 years, they'll have something that's lighter, more practical, maybe even more just like, glasses. And at that point, does it become a more mainstream device? Probably. I can't really talk about the bad of the Vision Pro without also talking about the positives. I think everybody is aware that Apple will make the best VR headset out there in a couple of different ways. Number 1, spatial awareness. Vision Pro will learn your environment and understand when people are talking to you. If you're in an immersive environment, they'll automatically fade into it, making it feel, at least from your side, like they're there with you. Number 2, eyesight. When you start talking to someone, it'll automatically show a digital render of your face to that person, so you can still have a conversation with them, no matter how artificial it is. This combined with spatial awareness is Apple's version of overcoming that isolation of AR or VR headsets, but it still feels like a strong compromise. Number 3, not needing controllers. Vision Pro is controlled with your eyes by simply looking at something and then tapping your hand. Pinch to select, scroll, pick up windows and move them, type on a physical keyboard. It's all more intuitive than using controllers. But just like typing on an iPad experience doesn't compare to a real keyboard, none of the actions on Vision Pro are as easy as using other devices. Number 4, a more clear display. Apple notes that you get more pixels than a 4K TV in each eye with Vision Pro. But from early reviewers, it's still not completely clear. And when using VR, you either have to get it perfect or there's always a disconnect. Number 5, spatial audio. This is one thing I think Apple will nail because they've already done it on things like the MacBook Pro, where they managed to throw the sound in a way that sounds like it's coming from all directions, even though it's coming from your speakers in front of you. It's a bizarre experience that you need to try to really understand, but I think they're going to bring really sophisticated 3D sound to the Vision Pro. Number 6, apps at launch. This is always the benefit of Apple devices, right? By default, apps can be ported to the Vision Pro for a 2D experience without any coding. This means that at launch, it's going to have a huge app store. Then, for developers who want to make a really immersive experience, they can enhance their apps with further code. 7, and finally the end result, a marginally better VR headset than others on the market, but for a much higher price point. Despite this video, there is an excitement around what this could bring in the future. I can't doubt that Apple made this device with a vision of what it could be in 5 or even 10 years. Concepts are already coming out explaining how you could essentially buy less furniture for your home and then live with AR elements that fill the space more intelligently, which is kind of cool to think about. But a lot of us are saying the same things that we did when the first MetaQuest headset came out. Until we get it in a smaller form factor like glasses, this just isn't for most people.